Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. It's a pleasure to be doing this on a beautiful sunny day here in Costa Rica, where I am. I know you guys aren't there, but we've had some great weather here in the last little while, so I've just been thrilled with that because the rainy season was messed up last year, and so I'm hoping to get a proper one this year.
A
You know,
proper rainy
a
season?
proper rainy season.
What
Well,
is a proper rainy season in Costa Rica, dude?
Well, it starts right around now, and it'll rain in the afternoons, but the mornings will always be nice. And then in September, um, gets a little bit worse, and then October, the same thing, a little bit worse. November, the beginning of November is usually pretty bad. Like it'll usually
Hmm.
rain like substantially through that time, and then historically it clears right up after that, and you won't see any rain until like around June again or something
Oh
like
wow.
that. But last year it rained right through November, right through December, some of January. It was crazy. It was very
Oh wow.
so.
Hmm.
We're hoping to get things back on track this year. If I have anything to say about it, that's the way it'll go back to normal.
I'm sure you have lots to say about it. Doesn't mean you can do anything about it, but I'm sure you have lots to say. I've been seeing your nice sunset pictures of Costa Rica there, Rob. Th those have been really nice to share on your Instagram.
Yeah,
So
I like. It's not like I'm posting sunset pictures all the time. I'm not that guy. I did it one time, just showing the progression through the night. You know,
Meals,
sure, sure,
meals,
whatever.
birds, and
Yeah,
sunsets.
yeah.
no meals
Uh,
either. Yeah.
uh,
I
Um,
I do that, unfortunately. I've
with
been,
the
you know
meals,
what? Yeah, sometimes because I don't know why. I just really like to if I get a really good meal and it looks really cool, I don't know. I post them sometimes. I admit it.
people do it. It's not uncommon. You're not
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Uh, I just wanted to remind people. I've been putting out a lot of videos, like house tour videos. I toured a cool new development the other day, and if you want to see any of those, you can go over to Point Break Homes on Facebook, Point Break Homes Costa Rica on Facebook, and just Point Break Homes on YouTube, and check some of that stuff out.
Cool.
nice.
What about you, Quentin? What's new?
We're just solving problems. We
Mhm.
we switched over our back end property management system, and we used to use it to do ACH. And when we paid our joint venture partners, we used to pay them through this back end system when we're doing dividends, whatever, right? And we got rid of that system. And now we didn't have a way to pay our joint venture partners. So all of a sudden we're scrambling, grabbing checks again, trying to figure out how to do it. We figured it out. We were able to replace it with a different pad system so that we could get the payments over to the partners. But it was a bit of a rigmarole there. And then, with one partner that got missed, we had like a $5,000 payment for like cash flow payment for him. And I was just like, I don't even think I can do this on my e-transfer. My e-transfer limit got messed up. So like because it doesn't can't do that. So anyways, we'll figure it out. That's what I've been working on just in the last hour. But yeah, it's always part of, every day is different, right? There's always something. And I'm getting ready for my trip next week. I'm a little nervous, super excited, doing Mount Blanc, doing a climb, mountaineering. It's going to be very different than the typical hikes that I've done. This is really, we're doing more ice axes, crampons, ladders, all of that stuff. So it's going to be a little bit more exciting, a little
Wow.
bit. Yeah, there's an area, the Grand Coulier, which is like where there's rock fall all the time, and some of the rocks are like the size of your all the way up to your hip, and they'll kill you. So it's a very kind of dangerous coulier as you go across to get to the summit. So it's going to be very a little nerve-wracking, very interesting. I like to push myself to get out of my comfort zone in different parts of my life, and I found that when I do hard things, hard physical things, I find that it also helps me to get past like all the business hard things seem pretty easy when you kind of push yourself to do something like that. And so, anyways, I'll be off next week doing that. And um, if I if I don't survive, just make sure that my kids know that I love them, and that's, I'll be fine.
Well,
I'll be
well,
fine.
it's funny because those are the posts that I always see from you. It's like adventure after adventure after adventure with you. So, it's hard to like pin you down to get one of these podcasts done.
Yeah, after that, after France, I'm going to be headed to Banff for a week or 10 days, something like that. So it'll be that'll be good. And then we have Durham REI meeting at the beginning of September. So
What day is
that's
that?
I have no idea. Second Wednesday in September. I have to look it up. I think it's
Second Wednesday, the ninth.
10th. 10th.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong month.
Yeah,
There you go.
September 10th. There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have a great guest for today. So
We do.
yes, we do. So I'm gonna just do a quick intro. Dave Knight, he's a seasoned real estate investor, developer, community leader with experience across Canada and the US. He is a partner in SDG Canada, where he leads capital strategy and investor relations for purpose-driven infill missing middle housing projects. He's 15 years of active duty as an active duty police officer. Dave brings a rare combination of deeply rooted integrity, trust-based leadership, and real-world problem solving for the developer space. He's also the founder of First Responders Wealth Network, a national platform and podcast that empowers first responders throughout Canada and the US toward financial literacy and real estate investing across multiple asset classes. He's also the co-founder of the Missing Middle Conference, focused on convening the most insightful and action-oriented voices in housing from developers and planners to institutional leaders and policymakers. And that conference is coming up in September, Dave?
Yeah, September 12th. So
September
we're
12th.
just a few weeks away as we record this.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. No, we got like, well, this is
We'll
going to
get
be up
this out
in a couple of
before.
days
Yeah.
actually, so
Oh, wow. Nice.
they'll have a quite a bit of time, hopefully, to
Oh,
get
cool.
signed up for that. And let's just say they're listening afterwards. Is there any kind of platform that they can reach out to see more information on what
The
this is
Yeah.
Missing
about?
Middle Conference.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah,
a
sure.
website?
There is. You can go to the mmc.ca and that'll have all the information there depending on when you see this. And I'm sure things are going really well. So this is our first one. We've had a really amazing feedback and tickets and sales are going great and sponsorships and speakers are somehow all saying yes. So that's working out well. And so we may do it again next year. And there's even talks of maybe doing it out in Alberta, maybe late spring, early fall. So
Well,
cross
that's
our
it.
fingers. So I'm sure we'll keep going. So
Yeah, we'll hear
Awesome.
more about what it's all about coming up here. But let's
Yeah.
get a little bit of you've been on the show before,
I
so
have. I've been. I don't know if it's once or twice, but I think it might have even been twice. I can't remember, but I believe your ex-partner was on here before.
oh
So Quentin, this
yeah.
is our first time
Yeah,
interacting, I
I'm
think.
the troublemaker. Yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny is I've actually recognized you. I've heard, some of your stuff, so I'm very familiar with you.
Oh, cool.
And yeah. So anyway, it's great to be on, and I know Rob. I don't know if you remember this, but last time I was on, I shared a story. One of my like I used to listen to you guys or this podcast because you guys have been on for how long now? Like what, 10,
It's
a
coming up on
long
like
time.
12 years.
Seriously,
Yeah,
that's crazy. So
yeah.
when you guys were first on, you had someone on that spoke about student rentals, and I actually reached out to them after and got some coaching, and that was kind of my segue into the student rental market of getting a coach. So it's kind of cool how things come full circle. But
That's awesome. Is that
yeah,
Tim? Was that Tim, by
it
the way?
was, yeah, Tim Collins, yeah,
No way. You know what?
yeah.
I've been talking to him on like another forum on covered call ETFs and that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
thing.
What's
And
he doing? Is he out west now or something? I
yeah,
think.
Oh
yeah,
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 he's in
yeah,
the
yeah.
West
yeah,
Coast. Everything's
Yeah.
such a small community. Everybody
This
like
community
that's
is
crazy.
super small for sure,
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know who's doing stuff and who's not, but
Mm.
Definitely. Yeah.
but yeah, Tim's a good guy, and he's really interesting. He's really focused on that side of things now, just earning income with the capital that he's built. But
Mhm.
yeah, so
Maybe
let's
after all this, we should have him on there too sometime.
yeah, absolutely for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
he's been on before too, actually, but that was a long time ago. He was like one of our, I think he was one of our first guests.
That would have been back. I think we're around 2015 or so, maybe in and around there.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he would have been one of our first guests on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
So you started out there and you were buying student rentals?
Yeah. So, I mean, before that, I had a single, my first property. I'll just give you the kind of 30-second background. So, yeah, first property was a single family home. Eventually tapped in the equity, got another townhouse in the Burlington area. And then, learned about forced depreciation and cash flow and all that stuff. Got into student rentals specifically for cash flow. And then eventually got into renovations. I converted single family homes into 2, 3, 4 units. I was very heavily focused on that in Hamilton for some time. And then kind of took a bit of a break, a step back, with everything with interest rates, market, that sort of thing, kind of decided to pivot and then took some time learning and again, educating, taking courses and finding mentors and that sort of thing into this missing middle development space. So that's kind of where I am now, and everything I do, I try and lean in on when I do it. So now it's crazy. We got combined with myself and my partners, we got 96 units, townhouses or walk-up apartments under construction currently or in the pipeline right now. Mostly up in Barrie, or all up in Barrie. So we're creating a little bit of a village up there. We call it Clapperton Village. So I'm sure you'll see in our socials pushing that fairly soon as we start getting to completion here in the next little while. So yeah, so all of our attention is up there and still working full time as a police officer. So very, very busy. As you said, coming in like a wrecking ball or whatever it was, you made a comment and you're always doing 100 things all the way
Yeah.
up until till your scheduled appointments. That's pretty much me on a daily basis.
And then you get to breathe.
Yeah,
Get a
exactly.
little
Yeah. So
more.
this is my breathing point. So we can hang out now.
Right
Oh,
on.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's fun. And so, a lot of people have the question like, what is this missing middle housing? Like,
Mhm.
why is it so important?
But yeah, so I mean, technically the definition, and I guess can be anywhere between a duplex all the way up until, the mid-rise. Um, so the way I was always told was it's a little bit too big for the small guys and it's too big or too small for the big guys. And it's kind of this area, this niche that's kind of been forgotten a little bit. Um, and there's a huge opportunity. There's a huge momentum and attention on it right now. I think there's a lot of things changing from the top federal down to provincial and even municipalities, changing zoning, changing densities, changing as of right number of units per lot, that sort of thing. So the ability to take an average lot and now, densify or even just add a coach house in the back for a normal family is available more now than ever. So it's not just like me coming in as a real estate investor in our group SDG. We're coming in and acquiring properties and optimizing the space. It can be from just your mom and pop who want to add in another additional unit in the back. So yeah, that's essentially in a nutshell. Missing middle is that scope of units.
Okay. And
Yeah.
your company, they focus on the missing middle?
Yeah, yeah. So I have two partners, Kartik and Jimmy. I know they couldn't make it today, but basically they actually started the business before me. They had a property up in Barrie, and then I met them through another. I don't know if you know Darren Varros. He's another
Yep.
missing middle
He,
developer,
he
so
was
good friend
he
of
was
ours.
just on the podcast two episodes ago.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. Yeah, good dude. Actually, he's the MC and he's hosting our conference, so he's going to be the MC and moderator. So, um, yeah, good dude for sure. Anyway, so he introduced us indirectly, and then I kind of came on with them, and next thing you know, we got one property after another, and here we are now with about I think we have nine properties right now.
in
So
the company. That's very cool.
in the company, yeah. So it's just us three, and we have a couple full-time staff. We have part-time CFO. We have, we have assistants overseas here as well. It's crazy. Like it literally, like I'm not joking when I say I could barely, realistically here, and I'm not even just, you know, throwing fluff. Like it would be very difficult for me to do this, even just one on my own. It would be almost a full-time job. So my other two partners, they're completely full-time, and it literally takes an army, assistants, admin, accounting, bookkeepers, like all that to literally make all this work. So it's there's a lot going on in the background to make 90 units function and operate and come to fruition.
Yeah.
So you said all of them are in Barrie, Ontario.
Yes, correct.
So
Yeah.
what was the reasoning behind that? Because this is 9 properties spread out, all
Yeah.
in Barrie. So
Yeah. Yeah, not so spread out actually. We strategically purchased a number of properties on one street. So we have what is it? One, two, three, four, five, 6 properties, about 60 units all on one street. So to kind of dial it back a little bit, we're taking single family lots, large lots, and we're severing them into 2 or 3. And then up in Barrie, part of the strategy was they allow 4 units as of right on per lot. So we're able to take anything from, an 8 unit, depending on the width. If we can squeeze three lots out, then we can get 12 units in there. The first property was a 10 unit walk up, and then the remaining we're doing stacked towns. So just higher and best use, and just a cheaper build than the walk ups. And yeah, so with that, we've created literally a community, and think of almost like, you know, a mini community essentially that have shared amenities. So each lot, each unit has amenities that people can share within the community. And we're also bringing more of a social aspect to it, multi-generational kind of thought process, and kind of a mixed use type of building. And we're working with some other nonprofit agencies and stuff like that, just trying to create a more social impact rather than just another unit for lease. So we focused in Barrie for one. The rents was very strong. The point of entry was very good compared to the ratio of purchase price, rent, and also medium house income as well. So the the main factors that we look at as everyday investors was there. The foundation was there, fundamentals were there, and the vacancy and the cap rates and everything just kind of jived. And to be honest, it's my partners. They introduced me to Barrie. I had never, to be honest, I really wasn't that familiar with Barrie. I'd driven past it going to Muskoka. I had some guys going to George in college now and then, back when I was younger, visit, but I didn't really have much attention in that area. But the more I'm there, the more I visit. Like I mentioned, I was just there before I even came here today. It's a beautiful city. It's right against the water. Like I said, we got a nice, beautiful marina. They're really rejuvenating the downtown. Apparently they're in works of a large soccer stadium, a big theater downtown. They have the go train going right down, so it's a direct line into Union. So they have a lot of great fundamentals there as well, and their outlook on population growth is obviously pretty attractive too.
so is any of the regulations as far as like what's allowed on the lot, is that new? That's just been implemented there?
No. So where we're going, we're as of right. The zoning is actually as of right. So technically you can do stacked towns, walk up apartments. There is a height restriction. However, you can do those things. So the use and the zoning was already in place. So that was one of the attractive areas. Is our time to get to minor committee of adjustments and through the entitlement process was significantly less compared to obviously having to do a traditional zoning change, which could take, I mean, it could take a year, it could take 2 years, 100,000 more, whatever, depending on the situation. So our speed to shovels in the ground is significantly higher in this area, but that was why we were drawn to the area as well.
Significantly lower.
Or sorry, lower. Yeah.
Mhm.
Lower time frame, but higher efficiency, I should say. Yeah.
So would you say that Barrie has more favorable regulations than other municipalities? Have you looked at other municipalities?
Yeah, I have. Toronto, I mean, Scarborough, like they're changing. I mean, there's just some recent rules there. They got six now. Yeah, six as of right in the major. So they don't have that. However, I feel like as a whole, the building department, the city, they are wanting growth. They're wanting more, density. They're open to that. So, um, I don't have intimate comparison, but I know speaking to others, Barrie is very progressive, and like again, I can just speak to Barrie more than, let's
Yeah.
say, for example, Hamilton. You know, and the process
Hamilton
is actually
seems
more
to
fluid
really
too.
want to just stay in the past. They don't want to,
I've heard a lot of rough things about Hamilton. Like it's a little tougher. Again, I'm not, I always speak from experience. Like I have to go through the process to really kind of speak about it. But I know even just going through what I used to do my conversions, just trying to get a duplex into a single family over to I mean, I would take like 6 months
Mhm.
sometimes because they would take so long or, a little setback here. Next thing you know, it's taking another
I always
three.
love it when
It
they
was
would say,
just
"Oh,
like,
we have what like time frames, like a 3 week time frame to get
yeah,
back to you,"
yeah,
but
never,
yeah,
ever.
it never happens. But anyway, Quentin, I have
No.
a quick question for you. Do you know of any like, are there any municipalities that are really just stuck, like in the past? They're not making these
This
type of like, I
there
don't know, encouragement on building.
well, I mean, you see, like Barry is like, allowing 4 units by right, and there with the changes in the act, that's supposed to be across single family home lots. But if you look at the different municipalities, they've all interpreted it differently, which
Yes.
is the problem with um, we have federal guidelines, we have provincial guidelines, and we have the municipalities that actually do it. And the municipalities can act like a real roadblock. And what I'm finding is that, like, even within the Durham region, you'll have, the region of Durham, but you'll have Whitby, really only allowing 3 units. And then you might have like Oshawa that will allow 4 units. And then they'll have different requirements like within the envelope of the house or the existing you can do three, but maybe you might be able to get a fourth with a garden suite, but like it's all over the place. Like honestly, if you want to make a change, and this is the way I see it, and everybody can go screw themselves. I don't care what you think.
I like
But
your
like,
attitude. Let's hear it. Yeah, yeah.
but we get rid of the municipal control over over what can and can't be built, because all you
Mm,
have is you have NIMBYs and people who will, bananas who don't want anything built anywhere,
yeah.
interfere with the process. If it's supposed to be like a single family four per lot across the province, make it per lot. And
Right.
not allow the municipalities to push back. Now, I granted there's going to be a lot of pushback on something like that because you're taking away municipal control. But I think that a lot of municipalities are part of the problem. Also, I mean, this is great like fodder for the missing middle conference itself, because
Mhm.
we have a lot of different groups that are at play here, and I find that municipalities are one of the big challenges. I have a couple of developments like that we're working on. We've got a 20 unit building that we have another 20 units that we can put on it that we're working on, and another 40 units that we could build on the same lot. I don't know how the heck you can have 9 projects going on. It would drive me insane. One project is more than enough, and I've got
It
like
takes,
I've,
yeah.
g- I've got like we've got a 12 unit building where we're adding 2 more units, just going to the committee of adjustments,
Hmm.
and then talking to the municipality, and at first they say, oh yeah, we'll allow you to do 4 units, and then they'll say, oh no, 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 we said that at that time, but now that you actually gave us the money to go ahead, we only want you to do 2 units. Well, what the hell was the conversation for before then?
Right,
Like,
right. The
this is
pre-con, what was that all about?
municipalities. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
how municipalities act.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can have different conversations with different people and have different results. And that's a challenge.
So the one thing that we're actually excited about and is at our conference, we're actually bringing, we have a Ontario mayors panel. So we actually have the mayors from Burlington, Brampton, Barrie, Newmarket, and Toronto as well.
Wow.
Wow.
And yeah, so we're super excited about that. Oh, and did I say Brampton? Yeah, Brampton, Newmarket, Barrie, Burlington, and I feel like I'm missing one, Toronto. And so we're literally, it's a Q&A session, it's a panel. We're going to have some vetted questions. We also have an online community. I should probably plug this just because it is very good. We have a WhatsApp community on online there, and it's missing middle developers, consultants all the way across Canada that are in our group. So there's a lot of communication, like real-time information, Q&A that's going on in there. And so we're getting some feedback from them, like real time, what's happening. It's not just our projects, like we're hearing about it across the country, specifically Ontario. And so there's going to be some tough conversations and questions, and Darren, I know, will do a good job at that. But they are push some, not all, obviously. They have the right message. I think they are trying to change, but there's just so much red tape. There's so much, you know, old bylaws that are tough to get reversed. There's old zoning and the pushback of certain, cities and communities. It's tough, but one of the biggest things is just getting everyone on the same page. So we also have someone potentially from the federal government coming as well, from the housing committee. And then we also have people from like BILD, BILD, the association. So anyway, we're getting institutional people coming and also having the right conversation on how we can kind of create some more units and buildings. And part of that is literally looking some mayors in the eye and getting them all on one stage and having a conversation, saying what's working, what's not working, what can we do. So hopefully that helps in wherever you're investing there, Quentin.
I'm in Ontario. I'm across Ontario. We've got our units, our buildings, our properties are across Ontario. But I think that do you have who's some of your speakers, if you don't mind? Like, do you
Yeah.
have Moffat?
Yeah, so basically we have I have the list here. So we actually have the uh, the chief economist of CMHC coming. So we have, let me just get a list here. It's not updated. Here we go. So we got Mayor Chow, we got Matthew LeBurge coming. So he's obviously the chief economist and senior VP of CMHC. So he's going to be our keynote there. We also have Peter Norman from the Atlas Group. He's VP and economic strategist. So he's going to be speaking as well. We have the VP of real estate finance at CMLS, Robert Lowe coming, Justin Sherwin for BILD. We got Daniel Foch coming. You guys know him from
Yeah.
online. And yeah, we also have an MP from Toronto, Brad Bradford. We also have Chris Spoke. He puts on the Missing Middle Summit, which is a great event there also as well in Toronto. Definitely check that out. So, and then we got our mayor's panel. So we have some
Cool.
people from the private sector and public sector as well. Some
Excellent.
innovators, and of the public and private space, technology, AI, that sort of thing. The innovation of construction. So it's a wide range of people and conversation. So
You're gonna have some really good conversations. I think there's a lot of challenges to work through. Like, you've got the costs associated with building the
mhm.
one of the things that I'm finding that I can't make sense of right now, and maybe you can help, Dave. At,
Mhm.
when I see like some of these projects, the build projects that I'm seeing in some of these municipalities, you've got like triplexes or sixplexes. Let's do a sixplex example, which is
Sure.
a finished project, and you go to MLI Select, and
Yep.
you've underwrote this sixplex for $3 million because the rents. that you've underwrote and the because it's based on NOI, you have a finished new build at $3 million. The issue I have is that I could, in the same city, buy like an older building at 1.4 million.
Mhm.
And I look at it and I go, this doesn't make sense. It makes sense because it's an NOI approach, and it makes sense because it's a new building. But the
Yeah,
only reason why it's being built is because of the MLI financing. Without
100%.
it, wouldn't
Yeah,
make sense.
it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
And that's just the reality of what's happening today. I mean, the only things that are making sense are these purpose-built rentals, you know? And I mean, that's the difference between if you pay 1.5 for a used building, who knows the age of the building, and the value add that's necessary to bring that property up to the same NOI. But at the same time, you're also have a brand new product. It is evaluated differently. And also the NOI might be, similar. However, you have that 50-year amortization, 95% up to 95% loan to cost.
Yeah.
So the structure of the financing debt is different. So it can make sense, but you're right. It is interesting how that the dynamic of those costs can be significantly different.
What would be the highest amortization you could get on something older like you were talking about, Quentin?
You can get like 40-year AMs. Like that's what we're doing now. We it used to be typical that we could get 30 or 35 with CMHC. Now we're getting 40 when we're like I've got four CMHC mortgages. Well, actually, we might go to CMHC on two of them or three of them. One I'm doing MLI with tier three on the energy efficiency
Hmm.
in order to get a higher debt coverage ratio, but not a higher loan to value or amortization, right?
Yeah.
So I can get a higher loan to value. So we're going 40-year AM. But that's more typical. But on a new build, 50 years is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
I
fantastic.
mean, it almost reminds me, I know it's not the same, but it almost reminds me of the American interest only loans because like you're barely
Yes.
paying off the principal when you're getting to that level of amortization, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, 50-year, can you pay off your debt? Yes, but it's almost, the methodology or the theory behind it, in my perspective, anyways, rents do increase over time, and then that NOI does increase. Do you pay off a lot of your mortgage? I don't know. Like, what's your mindset? Are you paying off your mortgage, or are you just looking to hold this and refinance down the road, and that kind of strategy? So, when you do your
Yeah.
buildings, do you like what's your thought or what's your business plan on that? Is it like every 5 years? Do you refinance? Or are you looking to exit, or what kind of stuff
Yeah.
do you do?
So we have 25 buildings across Ontario, and our typical plan is to reposition buying existing buildings, increase the net operating income, and then refinance. So typically at the end of 5 years, we want to try to pull out all of our initial capital that we put into it. And that's been pretty good. Like we've had a tough time in the last 2 years, so we've had to put off because interest rates went up so high. We had to put off a bunch of those refinances to this year.
Mhm.
And so instead of doing it in year three, we've had to push it to year five.
Right.
But now I have like one
That's
that's
very
coming
common.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very common. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah.
But we've
So,
underwrote it to be able to do that so that we're not stuck in a position. And so that's been, quite good. But we're buying existing product under construction cost, basically. Like
Yeah.
that's you can't build these buildings that we buy
Yeah.
anymore for what we're buying it for. But the problem is and I don't think that the wider audience of people understand this part. It's because of rent control that this problem exists.
Hmm.
And because if we didn't have rent control, rents would be different, NOIs would be different, cap
Yeah.
rates would be different, all of this would change, and we would probably have a lot more things being built because it would make more sense. But
Yeah.
because of that, we don't. And
Hmm.
so that's a lot of the like where I see is that, and it's not like it is what it is. I'm just using the system for what it is, and
Right.
I don't like to to play outside the system and get into gray area stuff, and I don't want to get into trouble. But like what I'm doing is I'm looking at what the problem is, and the obstacle is the opportunity here. You know, like it's hard to build product that makes sense. And you know, you're working hard to solve that problem for sure.
Mhm.
But for other people like developers to be able to develop a larger building, it doesn't make sense. Um, I don't see how it makes sense as a rental product unless you have MLI financing. Like
That's it.
there's like,
Yeah.
and
And go
there's
ahead.
no like in the US, we have lots of competition. Like I have a portfolio, a small portfolio in the US, and I understand they have so many different types of financing. They have nothing like MLI Select.
Right.
There's nothing like that. They
Yeah.
have interest only, but they don't have 50-year AMs. They don't have,
No.
you know, DCR 1.1. Like they don't have this sort of stuff, right?
Yeah. When I talk to them down there, like some buddies, and they're like, you get what up there?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy. Like you better build as many as you can because who knows how long that's gonna last.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I'm with you too.
Yeah.
Because
So
right
that
now it's you're supplementing I don't think everybody
Mhm.
understands. CMHC is basically building, allowing the building of rental units right
Yeah.
now. And all those condos that are don't make any sense anymore that were in the pipeline, all that land, they've all converted to rentals. And once
Yes.
that's gone, I don't think, I don't know, unless the market has changed, I don't know where we're going to have more building happen because a lot of those people I have a friend of mine on like who on Kingston who had a condo project. I forget what, like 300 units or something, and he moved them to rentals. Why?
Wow. Yeah.
I've
Because he
heard of that
couldn't
a
sell
lot,
it.
though,
He
right?
couldn't.
We've
Yeah.
heard
Yes,
of that a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
because the
yeah. They
Y-Rocks did that with a bunch of their buildings, right?
Yeah.
And
they
who else? Mark Loeffler do that?
Mark. No, Mark's
No,
out in Alberta. He's
no.
sold
I heard of
everything.
a couple other people doing the same thing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It again, it comes down. I mean, that business model too, depending on what stage they take over. I mean, they have to sell X amount or a certain percent pre-sales in order to make that model work, and nothing's selling. You know,
yeah,
so and then if maybe it did work then, but now it's not selling the rest, they have to convert. Otherwise it doesn't work.
yeah.
So yeah,
And we have a lot of developers out of business. We have a lot of construction jobs gone.
yeah.
Like what, 25% in Ontario?
I just heard so CBC just came out with an article a few days ago, and they were saying that I guess the calculation that they're saying that the Ontario government apparently the way that they calculated it was a little bit inflated than what the actual numbers are, and they're claiming that construction now in Canada is construction is down 40%. So the actual construction industry is down 40%. So I mean, I know even personally for our construction managers that we have on board, like they've done everything from mid high to low, and they're the competitiveness that we're actually getting on quotes now is actually really really strong because a lot of them don't have work. The so we feel it with boots on the ground, but to see it on paper, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hmm.
So
I
the answer to your question, though, Quentin, if I can interpret it properly, is for projects like this, the answer to Dave's question is refi till you die, right? Is that
well,
the
like
short
you mean my projects or Dave's projects?
the both?
Dave Dave's projects, I'm like, dude, man, build as many as you can, as long
Yeah.
as you get this financing and get it and keep it for as long as you can.
But he's saying that like when it comes time to refi, are you paying down the mortgage?
Well,
Are
actually,
you
that's a good question
refinancing to pull?
for Dave, because what
Well, he
happens
was
at the end
asking
of
you your opinion.
well, mine's easy. I've been doing the same thing for 20 years.
and
Like
and it
And
makes
you're
sense because obviously,
refinancing every chance you get. You're
every
pulling money.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And
So
it becomes a tax problem for me because I my if my mortgage is higher than what my purchase price is, I have a capital gains problem that's coming down the pipe
mm,
that has to be dealt with. But like the question I have is like if you have a 50-year amortization and you have a 5-year term and MLI Select changes, in 5 years from now? Because it's a different government, it's a different mentality about CMHC. What happens to the and how do
I
you exit that? Like,
s- so I don't want to speak out of turn because I really don't. I know my partners would know that answer, but I don't know that answer. But I'm not sure if we're grandfathered in with that or not. But I know it is an insured policy. Um, but I mean there are many ways that people can come in and exit on those as well. But I don't know. I don't know the answer if after 5 years if they cancel it. I
Well,
can't
I
see them
wouldn't think
doing that
so, right?
because
Like it just carries
because
on,
the
doesn't it?
yeah and if the product is working, it's cash flowing, why would they pull the plug on that? Because the percentage of units and homes that are being built right now in the last couple of years has mainly been on the backbone of MLI Select or at least CMHC. So
okay.
if they ever did that, that would, I mean, I would assume that would be catastrophic to the country.
It would
You
be, and I
know,
think this is the other way I see this because I this is my I'm a pro like I look for problems and then try to solve it, right?
yeah.
So what if rents go down by 15-20% and you've built the building and the building that you've built, the rents are 20% less in 5 years from now?
Well, they've already gone down 25. And luckily we're doing our underwriting in today's underwriting with anticipation in the next 12 months. So with the data that we have out now, they are anticipating a flat line, but it is the amount of supply that's coming out is this year and next year, and then they're
Yeah,
actually seeing a significant decrease in supply.
yeah.
So we are anticipating in our underwriting, and people that we are a lot smarter than me, um, state that as far as our game planning, we're good. But yes, you're right. There are a lot of people that underwrote, and then next thing you know, by the time the projects come to fruition, are ready to stabilize, the, um, the rents and the NOI is down, say 15-20%, and then they have to make up that difference, right? So
Alberta.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've gone through lots of their cycles there. But has Alberta dropped as well?
Yeah, the so what we were finding is that there were realtors. This is okay. Like I'm not a realtor, so I probably insult more people than I should. But like there are
I,
people who
I
are
do it on a daily. Don't worry,
okay,
you're
okay.
okay.
So sorry, Rob. So like what ends up happening is like they're selling these projects at 5% down to be able to close on this construction project,
Oh
a
yeah,
new build six, and then when they take they when they finally get to the point where you get the financing and stuff together, the rents that underwrote the project don't match the current rents in the situation that you're in, and then all of a sudden you have to bring two or $300,000 down versus $50,000 down to be
yeah.
able to close on this project. And they were finding that people couldn't close on these 6 unit new build projects
Mhm.
because of the underwriting didn't match the current rents. My question is, what happens if that changes on renewal in the on the 50-year AMs through these construction projects? And 5 years is and the like it all depends on population growth. It all depends
Yeah,
on like there's a lot of factors. So it's impossible to predict exactly. But like
yeah.
if we get into that position on renewal, what happens to all these MLI Select mortgages?
I think it also depends. Well, there's a couple things. I think the population is going to continue. We still can't keep up with demand. So demand and supply and demand is still, as per the analyst, is still a huge issue. Now, depending on what market you're in, obviously that can be independent, right? Like it's not one brush paints all, but um, so I think it's that, and it also depends on what your structure is. Like if I'm a mom and pop and I come on 5 year renewal, I don't know what your how much capital you have behind you. I don't know your intelligence level. Like I don't know what you can do, but there's always ways that you can kind of fill that void and that gap. Like I know in our projects we have significant equity still, even once we as per the evaluation, as you said, even though they're significant higher, we technically have equity in there. So we could like sell off the equity in order to kind of backfill anything that we need that, makes up that difference, I guess.
Right, to be able to
Yeah.
bring capital in.
You'd have
But
to, because that would
yeah,
essentially that would be the only way that you could backfill it other than, you know, going bust.
and CMHC is not going to go bust. They're going to make sure to take you with them, right?
No,
So
no, 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 no.
you're
But I
you're
just
you
mean, It doesn't
But
make sense. Yeah.
no. But
Yeah.
I also like what people don't understand too that like with multifamily mortgages as opposed to development, personal guarantees are a common practice, particularly in multifamily. Like if you're going to go down, they're going to take everything from you.
Oh yeah.
Whereas
No.
like you often have like no personal guarantees in condo development projects. Depending on the size and scope and your experience, of course. But
Mhm.
even with all of those things in rental projects, it's not the same. You're providing personal guarantees. Now, you maybe if you're going below, let's say like 50% or 60% loan to value, CMHC may not require you to have a personal guarantee, but the lender is still going to make you have some sort of personal guarantee, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no uh yeah, there's no 100% corporate veil on this situation. So they can pierce that no problem.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would
So
say, I would say if this is your first time listening to this show, your goal should be to understand everything these guys are saying.
We're going, sorry, we're going on a bit of
oh, I
a tangent
apologize.
here, but I enjoy this stuff because, this is what
Yeah.
I'm literally living and breathing lately. But yeah,
It,
sorry, Rob.
No,
No,
no.
it's good. You know what? Like I think like if you just try to find sometimes if you could just try to find different ways where you might find a problem in the future, all you're doing is you're just being proactive rather than reactive. And
Yeah.
I think that as a real estate investor, one of your goals is to be able to do that because you will end up in situations where interest rates go up, 300%. And
Mhm.
now what do you do, right?
Right.
Or you get to the point of refinance and your value of your loan is higher than the current value of what you think you should be able to get on your property. And
Mhm.
what do you do? Like, how does that
Yeah.
situation get resolved? It's about kind of figuring out what those are, and that's part of the, like, I don't know, it's part of the fun. It doesn't sound like it, but
the I remember like even just personally, you take learning curves and sometimes you feel the pain to learn those learning curves. Like even in Hamilton when I was doing a lot of my multifamily conversions at the time, I decided to do a couple single family flips. When everything was kind of rocking and doing great. And one of my mentors always told me to always have multiple exit strategies. And when sometimes you get a little bit comfortable and you see an opportunity, and even though I bought right, it was just one of those things. The market changed so quickly. The mindset of the buyers, interest rates went up, prices started to fall, no one was buying, everyone was scared and kind of frozen. And I took a little bit of a hit on those, which was fine. But with all my multifamilies, either I could have flipped them, I could have refinanced and still cash flowed well. And it was just one of those things where multiple exit strategies are always, it was a huge learning curve. Learning, like you were just saying, Quentin, like figuring out how to pivot and understanding different ways to invest, like creatively, the conversations, leveraging other people, like whatever you got to do. And it's just having the ability to understand that you can pivot and what to go through and what direction you can move to. And I feel like that over the last couple of years, I think anyone who's been in the space has learned, or a few years has learned what that's like more than ever in my you know 15 years of investing.
yeah, and you always, there are a lot of things that you learn along the way, like capital raising, government incentives and zoning, layouts and, collaborating with municipalities and, different lenders and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Like, maybe you can share some of your experiences on, maybe your capital raising journey or, government incentives and,
Hmm.
zoning changes.
Um, yeah, I mean, I can talk to the capital raising side of things. When I was doing my projects, it was only a handful of projects, and it would all be very close family and friends, and that's that kind of thing, because like that's what it only needed to make the project work. And then now, obviously, we're at a larger scale. There's a lot of stories in the news and people we all indirectly know. And I don't think things happen, things pivot, and I don't want to get into that, but just you'll learn from other people, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So one of the things, when I had to go out and I wouldn't say actively looking, but more progressively looking is, there's security rules, there's security laws, there's, certain things that I need to follow if I have a conversation or even talk about raising capital on this show. I got to make sure that I have my processes down in case I ever get audited or I ever get looked at. Who's investing with me? Are they accredited investor? Are they not? What type of questions have I asked them? So like that whole system, it was a learning curve for me. And part of that was going to a securities lawyer and saying, like, what do I need? Or what kind of questions should I be asking so I protect myself and obviously protect the investor and that sort of thing. So that was a learning curve for me over the last, I'd say, 12 months for sure.
Maybe like just explain what accredited investor is in case there's anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah, so the criteria of a credit is I don't have it in front of me. Basically, you have to have over $1 million of net worth, not including your primary residence, 200,000 in income annually, or 300 with your spouse. There's also like three separate sections too, and that's net worth, liquid, that sort of thing. There's also different sections too. Like for example, I wasn't aware that one of the exemptions for the Ontario Securities is you can actually invest with a corporation over 150K. So that was new to me. You know, and then obviously close friends, relative, involved with the executive level. Like there's certain criterias that you have to hit for exemptions that you can allow people to either a figure out if they're accredited, or if they're not accredited, then they can hit one of those exemptions. So
Yeah,
hopefully that
absolutely.
answered.
Yeah,
There's
no,
literally
it
about, I
does.
have about three appendixes of about 25 questions, or check boxes on each that I can't remember, but those are the main ones.
Okay,
So
maybe you can
yeah.
share a little bit too about the government incentives and that's that are reshaping the project feasibility.
Well, the government incentives, and which way?
Yeah, so like are you able to, I guess there's MLI Select, but there must be
Mhm.
municipal incentives.
Yeah. So for example, some municipalities, I know just because it's close to home, I'll give an example of Burlington. Burlington right now has an ADU, or additional dwelling unit incentive right now. It's about, I think it's 90K. There's between 70 and 90K, and there's some criteria for it, but it's a forgivable loan that basically can be tacked on to your build and construction. I've seen some other cities do that too, but mainly we're using MLI Select, so that's kind of the financing arm that we're using right now. But um,
Well, the
yeah,
other thing too, like just out of curiosity, like things that are sort of helping you get the density that you're looking for. Like, I think, did you mention that on the lots that you bought on the street, you're
yeah,
severing them into three? Is that correct? Is that what you said?
correct.
Some of
Yeah,
them? And so things like rules must have changed at some point in order to do that, right? Because they would have had, I mean, the only thing I've ever heard of is single or double lot, right? So now the fact that you're able to turn them into three, that's a
yeah,
game changer.
yeah, and also there's a lot of provincial government changed some bills that basically allowed to 10 units and under to bypass site plan approval process. So you can bypass the site plan approval process, but a lot of the requirements within that are now kind of pushed down into the municipal level of the building permit. So that was a big one too. So that's like speed and time that municipalities and provincial have kind of taken on the burden of trying to speed up a lot of these construction projects. So that's one specifically um, that that's really helped us in our
Yeah, that's
process.
huge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
I wanted to ask you, I don't know if either of you have heard of this coalition against new home taxes. You heard of that? I just
That's
found them the other day.
that
They,
is it, sorry,
it's
what's
called
the acronym on that?
Can't.
Oh no, I haven't.
Coalition
No.
against new home taxes, and they're working on they're working with a whole bunch of builders. I don't know if it's something that might be interesting for
Is
your
that a provincial? Is that a provincial announcement or
it's Canadian.
oh federal?
Um, but I mean, it's a coalition, so I don't exactly know.
Mm.
But they're working on the cost of building too, trying to keep it down. But it looks interesting. I've only just kind of like browsed the website briefly.
There's a lot of push right now, and it's going to be a big topic actually at the conference. Is uh, DCs, so development charges. I mean,
Ridiculous.
yeah,
Right.
it's so I mean, a lot of places have cut them by 40, 50, even 70%. There's some discussion of wiping them all out, and I don't know if it's a campaign slogan or if there's actually a desire and a path to actually make that happen, but it's a lot easier for the federal level to push it on the provincial or the provincial to push it on the on municipalities because
Mhm.
that's a lot of their income, right? Um, but anyway, there's just that's a big one too that's under discussion right now.
Mm.
I think the history behind that is it used to be the provincial government that helped with some of the infrastructure building that is no longer done at the provincial level and now has been pushed down to the municipality. But at some point, like the it just got way out of whack. Like
Hmm.
they started to use the aside from infrastructure building,
Yeah,
really it's become like an income source
Mhm.
versus
totally.
infrastructure building component.
It is
And
necessary to hit the quota.
Yes. Well, to give you an example, I mean, Barry's been awesome, but at the end of the day, it's just what's in place is they for the 10 unit walk up, we originally, I think it was about 450,000 just in DCs. Like,
wow.
isn't that crazy? Right.
Yeah, it's
So, I mean,
ridiculous.
and then, you tack on everything else that's included along the way. It's just, how do you, things add up real quick. And that's why the cost of building is so expensive. You said that you're purchasing stuff below construction costs. Well, it costs so much to build, you
So
know? So
even
that's the issue.
even before you get to building, like I've got a 23 unit and I can build another 20 unit beside it. But the
Hmm.
municipality asked me to do shadow studies, traffic studies. Like they studied me to death. $200,000 in studies without even the knowledge whether I would be approved or not. Now,
Wow.
why don't I
Wow.
just take my money and shove it
Give it
down the
to me.
toilet and flush
Right.
it 100 times
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like that's basically what they're asking me to do. This
Yeah.
is this is pure municipal stupidity. And this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what developers, that's how I like, you must have like a heart of gold or you must be like the most patient man in the world because I
Yeah.
have no idea how you would do this like without going crazy.
So I can only talk from my own experience, but we found something that works and we're just rinsing and repeating it right now in a very, very, very small area.
Right.
So I can only imagine if I was wanting to do this in Barrie and then Hamilton and then, Fergus and
Right.
then Collingwood, you know what I mean? And then
Focus
going
is
through this
good.
whole learning
Yeah.
curve, over and over again, right? So I don't
Well,
know.
like I mean, all
It's a
of
tough one.
your everything you need to deal with, you go to one place,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And
Yeah.
maybe it's all different projects, but you go to the same place. I
Yeah.
can't imagine having to go, like
And
you said, going to Hamilton, going to
yeah,
Barrie.
and
Yeah.
we've done certain studies like it's like a flow study basically of like the amount of water that can go down the street, how many sewers can connect and all that to make sure that we're not hitting a capacity and seeing, finding something down the road. But, you could be that one person that comes in a new area that you don't know that kind of data and information for, and then that hits you. So not only do you have all the DCs that we're talking about, but then you have, sewer connection that you weren't expecting, and then you got to pay for that. And it just goes on and on and on. But there has to be a more efficient way to come collectively to
Right.
actually figure these things out. And that, again, I don't keep going back to the conference, but like we're literally getting everyone in the same room to try and have these type of conversations to hopefully move the needle forward.
Yeah.
So
No, I like it. I like it. Tell us about the conference one more time.
yeah, September 12th. It's in Toronto at the Fairmont Royal York. It's a beautiful spot. It's about 250 people. Like I said, we got people from federal, provincial, municipality level, private sector, public sector. We have institutional lenders coming as well. That's a big thing that I didn't really mention. We're trying to bring in the institutional lenders and office, uh, family offices into this space to create more liquidity and awareness. Not only just for business wise, but also for the ability to create more housing. There's a huge untapped opportunity in this space. Like for example, we can pretty much, we can pretty much get about 100 units in about 24 months if we started at the same time. That would take approximately 5 to 7 years if you want to do a high rise, in those same amount of units, right? From ground level. So the ability to get shovels in the ground in some of these in this missing middle space is the opportunity is there.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
so
beautiful. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great event. So if you're thinking
thank you.
about it,
Yeah.
reach out to, what was it? The
Yeah.
MMC.ca.
Yep. Just go to correct. Yeah. The mmc.ca. I know all our early birds tickets are all sold out, but still got a handful of VIPs. And actually, the other thing too of the VIPs is a cool opportunity where we're actually having all the speakers, the mayors, and the VIPs all in one room to have a lunch and open dialogue conversation. And so I don't know if you're into it, if this is your space, you'd want to be in that room for sure. So
Dave, I would go, but I think I would make so many enemies. I would
no,
probably be in
we
so
we
much
want
trouble.
no
Enemy.
no no no.
So
We want
much
Everyone's
trouble.
there to have the same conversation
No,
yeah.
with you.
oh, I get so mad at some of
Well, as
these.
long as you don't bring signs, Quentin, or
No,
hoot and
that's
holler or
not me.
something, I think you're invited.
No.
Honestly, we want
Just bring
that
that
open
200
dialogue.
grand and slip it to all these people.
uh, we I think the goal is to have those tough conversations, like legit. And if respectively have these
Yeah.
tough conversations, right? And just hear what we can do about it.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat, and we all need more affordability. So the only way to do that is to build more houses, and units.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you coming on today. This has been like a lot of fun. It's been just an open conversation where we, I think more or less really went off kind of what we were going to do, but I
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
was good.
I appreciate
Quentin,
you guys having me on too. By the way, thank you.
It was good connecting with you, Dave. I've heard about you before, the 911 network and that sort of thing. So it's kind of cool to connect with you. So that was really good. So I appreciate that, and we'll have to have you on again. This is good conversation.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I want you guys to come. So if you guys are willing to come, please do. We'll talk after, and I can hook you up.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Quentin, how can people get in touch with you?
You can go to quintindesouza.com. I'm happy to talk for 15 minutes on real estate. If you're interested in learning about what I do, come out to Durham REI. We do monthly events. We have a great group of people there, so that's a good way of getting a hold of me as well. And Rob, how do people get a hold of you?
I think the best way is actually just go over to Point Break Homes Costa Rica on Facebook and get in touch with me through there. So thanks everybody for listening. Appreciate you all doing it again month after month, and we will see you next time.